I slowly opened my eyes, looking at an oddly familiar, filthy ceiling. If this is the afterlife, I'm not impressed, I murmured, trying to shake chlorine dreams. Slowly, I started to rise, and then my body gave out and I fell back against the gray sheets. The windows were dark. Night, or close to it. It'd been a busy day, and I wasn't even halfway done. I must have passed out on the flight back. Slowly, I rolled into my belly and looked back. The bullet holes were gone. Only Leo's scar remained. I still felt off and sore, but whatever that was, from taint or injury, I couldn't tell. I speculated I really owed the college it. I also doubted that they were healing me out of kindness of their hearts. "Congratulations! You've just set a brand new record," Triage said as she trot in, her horn glowing as she lifted the clipboard in front of her. "Punctured lungs, torn muscle, 32 different gunshot penetrations, probably a nasty case of magical burnout, 2 liters of blood lost, Luna only knows how you didn't die from shock, and the first pony in history to go through the autonomous healing booth 3 times in one day." She adjusted her glasses. "You know what this means, don't you?" "Huh?" I muttered as I looked over at her, unlit cigarette dangling from her mouth as she looked dully at the clipboard. "Well, if you ask me, the scientific conclusion is unescapable," she said as she smiled at me. Suddenly, the glowing clipboard swung through the air and smacked me upside the head. "You are not bulletproof!" she shouted, smacking me with each word. "If you can't do this heroic shit without getting holes shot in you, then you need to quit and retire." She pointed a clipboard at my nose. "If you're so set to die, then do it someplace quiet and nice." "What does it matter if I'm dead from taint in a year anyway?" I shouted back in anger, providing a wonderful stimulant. "It matters because every half-wit with a brain hears about all your noble sacrifices, and next thing you know, they're getting shot, stabbed, gutted, and killed by ponies who have spent their entire lives preying on the helpless. And I'm not the one who has to put their bodies back together. Even when they're rotted, drugged, and undead, I still have to put them back together again," she said as she jabbed her cigarette at my face. "It's crazy ponies like you who make my job difficult." I just stared at her. "What? You'd prefer if I'd let ponies die or get enslaved?" "Of course not," she said with every bit as much contempt as I felt for her. "I'd rather ponies stopped relying on heroes like you and the Stable Dweller and saved the wasteland themselves. Because every time that DJ starts gushing about how brave and wonderful you are, eventually, inevitably, you die, or worse, you become just as bad as the ponies you're fighting. Ever hear of the Iron Mare? How about Strider? Ranger Steel Hooves? Big Daddy? Each one a hero, till they broke down, gave in, or gave up. One day the glorious Stable Dweller and Security Mare will fail too. It's a fact of the wasteland," she said as she glared down at me. "Any idiot with a gun can kill for a cause and get shot up for their trouble. How about an idiot who builds a school, or runs a clinic, or maybe machines works? Oh no, heroism for them all. They're just the poor schmucks who should get grateful for the brave hero until heroing gets too tough." "If you think it's so easy, you do it," I countered. "I don't think it's easy. I think it's stupid. You can get shot 10 ways to Celestia Day. But how does it make the wasteland any better?" She pointed a hoof. "Your Pegasus friend is still critically depressed. That Alicorn thing is catatonic. That Philly is probably traumatized for life. You can't fix that with bullets." "Glory." I rolled and scrambled out of bed and cried as my legs buckled beneath me. There was a Pegasus in power armor?" I gasped as I tried to lift myself from my hooves, then buckled again and I sprawled on my side. I have to talk to her." I broke out in a cry of pain as my limb bent at a right angle and I rolled onto my back, feeling the rubbery limb slowly straighten. "Stop," Triaz said sharply as she wrapped her hoof in magic and tugged it. Why do you have to do this? What masochistic, messianistic morality makes you try and walk when you can't? Why do you have to do this? She demanded as my limbs slowly straightened. Because I have to. Because I owe her, I said. I closed my eyes. I hurt her. I was stupid and selfish and I got her hurt. I cost her wing. Innovation and rot took her wing, and unless she's a foal, getting hurt is a part of life. So why are you doing this? Triage asked, looking at me with a ghost of concern in her eyes. Because I love her, I shouted. I took a slow, shaky breath. I never loved any pony but myself. Never. But she's always been there with me, even when it cost her her own cutie mark. Even when it cost her her family and career. I've been beaten and battered and broken almost daily since I left my stable. And she's always trying to keep me going. To help me in my stupid fucking quest. I said as I lifted my pip buck and slapped the screen with my other hoof. I went limp inside, staring at the ceiling like it was the solid sky. EC 1101 is meaningless to her, but she still believes in me enough to help me crawl along no matter how much it hurts her, and I have to help her. I have to help all my friends. I'm tired of ponies getting hurt just for helping me. I clenched my eyes shut as I tried to shake, and nothing was stopping it this time. She shouldn't get hurt for me. I'm not worth it. Triage stood there with a half-lidded mask of an expression before she took a deep breath and let it out slow with a sigh. Wow. 200 years ago, I could have written a paper on your particular brand of crazy. She turned and her own glowed as she steered in a wheelchair. Well, your Pegasus friends have been waiting for you and making every pony really nervous, so the sooner they're dealt with, the better. They haven't been causing trouble, have they? I asked with a worried frown. No, but it's no secret that if you want healing, you come to us, or the Enclave. Folks are thinking they're here to trash the place or something. Makes every pony wonder, you know. She lifted me into the wheelchair and made me promise not to throw myself out of it this time. Is your horn working again? I looked at the chair and concentrated, then winced as magic sparks shot out from the tip of my horn. Ow. I tapped it with a limp limb. I think I broke it. Just burn out. It happens. Next time, don't push it so hard. Triage waved down one of the nurses. The Pegasi outside. Could you escort them here? The nurse glanced at me, sitting there looking like I'd been thrown down a few flights of stairs, and I gave her a smile. Can you take me to Glory's room? Time to do this. She's been completely non-responsive. Triage said quietly as her magic pushed the wheelchair. Did every pony in the wasteland have stronger telekinesis than me? She won't eat. All she's asked for is us to leave her alone. She's badly hurt, I said as she pushed me to the door. Well, if she doesn't recover soon, we'll have to toss her out. Triage caught my glare and returned it. Wasteland. Limited space. We fixed her flesh. Mind and soul, that's outside my specialty. So I hope you can help her. You do? I asked, a little sarcastic. For some reason, cynical healers were really aggravating. She arched her brows coolly. Just because I don't appreciate cheap heroism doesn't mean I don't want to help ponies. I can't help her. I hope you can. I dropped my gaze, chewing on my lower lip. Dusk and Lightning Dancer appeared in the hall, approaching with wary steps. Dusk's eyes stayed locked on mine while Dancer's looked a little bit more curious. So, what's the second favor? Let's get this over with. I just nodded towards Glory's room. I need you to help your sister. Her pupils constricted and she jerked away from me. Go fuck yourself. Damn the promise. I launched myself from the chair and tackled her as the wheelchair went clattering down the hall behind me. Throwing my hooves around her neck, I counted myself lucky she sat down hard as I slumped before her, staring into her eyes. Listen, I hissed in her face, glaring like I could vaporize her with rage alone. I don't give a fuck about Enclave politics, or tradition, or your own fucked up issues with pride or honor, or whatever the hell you Pegasus call it. Glory's in there, and she needs your help. If she wanted my help, she shouldn't have become a Dashite, Dusk yelled in my face. I kicked her as hard as I could, which was honestly pretty pathetic as my limb bent under the blow. She lost her wing, I shouted back, and that statement shook her far more than my physical assault. She got injured, and the innervation rotted it right off her body. So here's what you're going to do. I growled as I pointed to the closed door. You're going to go in there. You're going to talk to her. You're going to make her smile. You're going to make her happy. I don't care what you have to say, how you have to lie, or what you have to do. You're going to find some way to make her want to live, I said, as I clenched my jaw, tears running down my cheeks. Because I can't. Dusk closed her eyes. You don't understand. If Phony Pony found out she's alive... Wind Whisper already knows. She doesn't care. Don't you get it, Dusk? I said as I felt my legs slowly giving out beneath me as I was sitting. I've been there, where Glory is right now. It almost killed me. It would have if I hadn't forgotten the gun's safety. And the only thing that snapped me out of it was someone giving me something, anything to live for. I bowed my head shamefully. I can't do it. I'm the one who hurt her. That's all I do. And she needs to live. I took a deep breath and stared into her eyes once more. You're going to do this. And do you know why? Why? She asked, so stunned that the anger and attitude were momentarily abandoned. Because she's your sister. You love her, and you're a good pony, I said, trying to convince myself as much as her that it was true. You're her older sister. You have to help her. Dusk finally relaxed with an angry sigh. Fine. I'll try. Then she jabbed my chest with a hoof. But after this, we're even, no matter what happens. Got it? Just help her. You're the only one who can, I said as I finally crumbled. This was it. This was all I could do. With a sharp glare at me, Dusk opened the door to her room and stepped inside. Hey, Featherbrain, Dusk said before closing the door behind her with her scorpion tail. I bent over as all the stress and strain of the day poured out of me. When had my life turned in such daily dramatic trauma? You okay? Lightning Dancer asked as she returned with my wheelchair. She used her scorpion tail to scoop me up and help me into the seat. She gave me a casual, easygoing sort of smile. Her eyes and brilliant orange mane contrasted with her stark black power armor. I rubbed my face with my hoof and sighed. I haven't seen okay in a long time. I used to be okay. Heck, I used to be happy. Then I started thinking, and it's all been downhill from there. What can you do? She said with a shrug, nudging the chair. So, you going to just hang out here? 'Cause if I know those two, they'll be at it for a while. Dusk and Morning could never fly information together. No. I sighed and laid my head back, looking at the ceiling. Yeah, I need to see Lacuna. I don't have a clue how I'm going to help her. The big purple pony? She's down the hall, I think, she said as she hooked her tail on the frame and then trot towards the far side of the building. If you don't mind me saying so, you're not like most Enclave that I've met, I said with a smile.